Welcome, Pewter Report readers, listeners, and viewers to another edition of the Pewter Report Podcast, Energized by Celsius, a victory postgame podcast edition of the Pewter Report Podcast. Scott Reynolds, John Ledyard here with you to break down everything from the Bucs' 45-17 victory over the Miami Dolphins in Week 5, in which this guy right here, Antonio Brown, went off, Scott. What a performance by him and the rest of this Bucs offense. Took a while to distance the gap in the scoreboard, but they pulled it off in the end, and it was a pretty convincing victory.
It really was, John. You know, my biggest critique, whatever you want to call it, of Antonio Brown last year was the fact that we didn't see a lot of big plays down the field. I think he averaged just over 10 yards per catch last year. And, you know, in Pittsburgh, and when he was younger, he averaged about 14 yards, 13 and a half yards per catch towards the end of his career there in Steelerville. But you know what, John? That knee injury, right? It was there. It was legit. He got it cleaned down. He had off-season surgery. And we're seeing the explosive Antonio Brown from yesteryear when he was having huge plays for the Steelers. His 62-yard touchdown today, his longest play since the 2018 season. So I think that's made a world of difference. And he's not the only one who's had successful offseason knee surgery, John. We saw Tom Brady, young, spry, 44-year-old Tom Brady, have a 13-yard scramble today. And, John, you've mentioned it in previous Pewter Report podcasts. Brady's mobility now, without that knee brace, it's allowing him to do things like we saw him duck some sacks a couple of weeks ago, get out of some jams. We've seen him roll out and throw the ball on the run. Yeah. And every time he has a chance to throw the ball, it means more yards for the Buccaneers. More yards lead to more touchdowns for the Buccaneers. And, John, more touchdowns lead to more wins for the Buccaneers. Yeah, he put 45 points on the board today. 5 of those touchdowns courtesy of Tom Brady.
It's incredible to watch him. I mean, it's not hyperbole at all to say this is the best he's ever played. It's really just not hyperbole. I mean, it's incredible. And we've obviously got a long way to go this season, and we'll see kind of how things happen. But the way he's playing right now is pretty special, Scott. It's got him firmly in the MVP conversation here as we come out of Week 5 and into Week 6. And it's going to be lots of discussions we'll have along those lines.
You know what, John? In the coming weeks. He's thrown for 15 touchdowns so far in 5 games. He's got a pair of 5 touchdown games. The first one happening in Week 2 against Atlanta, and then, of course, today, 5 against the Dolphins. The only time he's thrown for 5 touchdowns in multiple games during a regular season, he did it 3 times. In 2007, that's when he threw for 50 touchdowns with the New England Patriots en route to the Super Bowl. John, he's on pace to throw for 51 touchdowns this year, which would break his own personal record and shatter the record he set last year of 40 in his first year in red and pewter. And he's also on pace to throw for 6,007 yards this year.
Yeah, it's
amazing.
It is. It's amazing. And honestly, Scott, we'll talk about the defense too, but the way they're playing, he might throw a lot in a lot of games this year. They might be in close games going into the fourth quarter more than we thought. And so that could lend itself to what looks like it's going to be an absurd statistical season. Brady just looks absolutely special out there right now. Yeah. Hey, you know what else is special, Scott, is Celsius right now. The energy drinks, they keep you humming, don't they? I mean, we got a long game day to work here. What flavor you got there?
I'm rocking the Fuji apple pear, John. It's time for the harvest. It's autumn. It's time for fall. And what better flavor than the Fuji apple pear, which is one of my favorites. You see a bunch there on your screen. The strawberry, kiwi, guava, the tropical vibe. I just got some peach vibe back here at the Reynolds house. Wild berry, watermelon, which is my wife Ashley's favorite. Orange, my personal favorite. Grape is awesome. They even have a cola flavor, John, that tastes exactly like your favorite cola drinks. So the flavor that you get from Celsius rivals the amount of energy that you get. And what I love about Celsius, John, is it's got the essential energy that I need. It accelerates metabolism. It burns body fat while you're drinking it. And the best thing, no crash. It gives you the energy you need without the crash. And you're right, John. On game days, more so than any other day, is really a Celsius day for the Pewter Report staff.
Absolutely. And it's also a fast protein bar day because I don't always get to eat all of my meals. And so I've got to get into the fast protein bars. You got the white chocolate cookies and cream and the caramel peanut crunch there on the screen. Love them both. Both are fantastic. Best tasting, unbelievable, silky smooth layers on these protein bars. And best part is they're also terrific for you. They don't sacrifice anything in terms of nutrition to bring you that unbelievable taste. 20 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar. I'm telling you, you won't taste a better protein bar in your life. They're so good. They can replace sweets for you. That's how good they are.
That's right.
They're good for you too. So
and
make
John,
sure you check out those as well.
It's awesome. You can go to Celsius.com to find out more information about where you can get Celsius locally, and you can try out which ones you like with their store locator. And then the best thing is you can get both the fast bars and Celsius on Amazon. And you can even do the subscribe and save even more money by buying them in bulk, and they'll ship them right to your house. That way you don't get caught without any Celsius or fast bars.
Right. Absolutely. Check that out. Okay. Looking forward to the positive Leonard segment. Chris says here today, the positive Leonard segment coming on Wednesday. No mistakes again. Indeed. Has Leonard Fournette, we're going to go through a bunch of players here, kind of rapid fire style, Scott, as we get into this matchup, but we'll start with the Bucs offense, as we always start with the better unit in a win. Have we reached the point where Leonard Fournette has kind of, I don't want to say transcended. What's the right word? Like, he's definitely elevated his game from anything we've seen, not only in his time as a Buck, but you go back to maybe his rookie year was a pretty good one for Jacksonville. And then after that, it's kind of all been a little bit downhill for him. And I think he's kind of looks like a renewed human being. The elusiveness he's showing, it's kind of crazy, Scott. We never saw anything like this.
I know
throughout his first year as a Buck.
And you know, with this picture we have up there, it's really him powering through some defenders. And that's what I like about Leonard's game is sometimes these bigger backs don't always play big. And I think that Leonard can be criticized for that at times, for not running behind his pads. And we've really seen the last 2 weeks him run behind the pads. He had a 21-yard run against New England, a 17-yarder today. And then he also had a nice catch and run for a big gain as well. Let's see, that one went for 16 yards. Where he broke some tackles. So he's making people miss in space. He's doing a good job of catching the ball. And then whether it's a run or a catch, he's either stiff arming guys, powering through them, making those defenders miss him. He's doing everything you want for a featured back in an offense, which really doesn't feature the running backs, especially in the running game. And so he came up with over 100 yards of total offense today, between rushing and receiving, and he's the clear running back. Listen, Bruce Arians won't say that Fournette is the man, but I will, and I know you will too. I mean, it's when we're talking about Leonard now, it's Leonard. What are you doing, breaking so many tackles and scoring touchdowns, Leonard?
That's exactly what it is. He's taken his game to a different level the last couple of weeks. Now we'll see, obviously, if it can stabilize and stay there. We don't know, but what we've seen him do is things we have not seen him do for years, really, as a player. And so I think a lot of it comes from what his personal growth. Like, he talked about it a lot, like how much he changed as a person since coming to Tampa Bay, and the humbling experience of being cut. And I think it reshaped things for him, and he's clearly committed himself to catching the football, to making plays in open field, and to pass protection this year. So good for him. Adds off to Leonard Fournette. He's playing really solid football right now.
You're exactly right. And I think, too, we talked about it at halftime of the Pewter Game Day show, which was awesome, by the way. Bucs fans, if you're not watching Pewter Game Day on game day, whether it's Sunday like it was today or Thursday night, John Ledyard and Paul Atwell will be on again.
Trevor Sycamore will be on with me Thursday night.
Trevor Sycamore, wow,
that's
great right there. That's awesome. So Trevor in the house. But as we talked about at halftime when I popped in, the thing with Leonard Fournette that I'm seeing, John, is the fact that I think that he went from playoff Lenny to Lombardi Lenny to maybe having a little bit of a confidence issue when Ronald Jones was named the starter when the original depth chart came out during the preseason. And Rojo finished the preseason off with a touchdown and a nice game against the Texans, and it was kind of a 1-2 punch to start the season against the Cowboys. Both those guys had some gaffes, but Leonard kind of powered through that. And I think over these last 2 weeks, he's got the confidence that he had back in the postseason, back in his game. And I think that he knows, whether Bruce Arians comes out and says or not, he knows by the number of opportunities he gets and the production that he's producing, he is the number one back in Tampa Bay.
Absolutely. And we appreciate this $5 super chat. Josh, always keeping us going, supporting us a ton today. St. Paul and I killed it. Kudos to PR for the game-changing content editions of late. Yeah, this team's killing the game. We've probably got 7 or 8 articles up at pewterreport.com, so make sure you check those out. More going up later tonight. Just proud of the team and the way they're covering everything. And obviously lots to cover, and we'll talk about a lot of it today. Some good comments on Leonard here. Leonard, what are you doing balling out today? Good comment there. Stairway to Heaven says, only knock on Brady. He gets flustered without Gronk in the red zone. I don't know, man. Didn't look flustered today. Going 4 of 5 in the red zone when Brady was in the game. Looked pretty dominant to me today. And unbelievable how many plays he's making, getting to his third read in an instant. Like, it's
John.
The touchdown to AB, the long one, was incredible.
It was, but even the second one where he's looking at Mike the whole way, waiting for Mike to beat Xavier Howard on that play in the end zone, probably throwing a little jump ball or a fade. It didn't happen. At the last minute, he threw the ball, and I swear he didn't even see Antonio Brown. He knew he could feel the force. He knew that AB was going to clear and get that opening across the middle. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, he is playing with that sixth sense right now. I mean, even on Mike Evans' second touchdown of the game, it's just he kind of throws it before Evans breaks into that zone. He just knows where the space is going to be, throws it right to it. And still, this is the most crazy thing, Scott. We still have not seen Tom Brady throw a turnover-worthy pass this season. That means a pass that, because of Brady, was worthy of being intercepted. That is just crazy. We haven't seen that happen, and Brady is playing the football at a high level. Nobody's made more big-time throws, tight window, high degree of difficulty throws in the NFL per Pro Football Focus this season. And only going into this game, only 2 other quarterbacks had no turnover-worthy throws on the season. Obviously, Brady's coming out of this one without any of those still. You can see his final numbers there: 30 of 41, 411 yards, 5 touchdowns. Antonio Brown and Mike Evans both go over 100 yards, both get 2 touchdowns. Chris Godwin had a quote-unquote quiet 70-yard game.
Right.
Like, it gets to that point where we're just, I mean, Tyler Johnson made a couple big catches, but none
just
of
an
Fournette,
embarrassment of riches.
It is.
At the skill positions here in Tampa.
Right. It's a blast to watch when they're clicking and not beating themselves today. I think we had 1 drop by Mike Evans on the day, but that was kind of the extent of things in terms of mistakes. There was a couple pre-snap penalties maybe, but they overcame all of it. So they, again, showing the signs that when they're at their best, it doesn't matter. Like it just doesn't matter what you try and do. I mean, the Miami tried a ton of different things. They tried to man up with 2 of the best corners in the league. And I mean, Xavier Howard got toasted by Antonio Brown for both touchdowns. So it was a tough day for him. It's hard to match up with Tampa Bay. Like, they just have answers for kind of everything you want to do as long as they're executing. They
really do. And let's give some love to the offensive line too, right? Because they didn't give up any sacks today. Brady got sacked twice. One was the fault of Giovanni Bernard. Didn't pick up the blitz. Well, actually, he picked it up, but he also got picked up and planted. By Jerome Baker, the middle linebacker, who was blitzing. Then the other one was Jalen Phillips getting his first full sack, the first-round pick out of Miami for the Dolphins. Got a sack on O.J. Howard today when they were locked up in one-on-one blocking. So the offensive line comes out of this game with just an A plus maybe, 558 yards, over 100 yards on the ground, 121, I believe, which was the total. And again, John, this is the 3rd game in a row where the Bucs offense does not have a turnover. Mm-hmm. I mean, no one's really talked about that yet, but this offense is playing such clean football. That's why they won last week in a very close game, even though they bogged down in the red zone. They still won 19-17 because they won the turnover battle. And today, they got a couple of takeaways on defense, the Shaq Barrett strip sack and the Jamel Dean interception, which was good for Dean because it's been nearly a year since he had an interception. It was October 18th against the Packers, his pick 6, so it's been a minute for Dean. But for him to get those 2 takeaways, what it does is it just gives the ball right back to Tom Brady. He usually turns takeaways by the defense into touchdowns on offense, and we saw that today.
And here's the other thing now that we got to get into with Brady and at least touch on it. I know we're early in the season, so we're not going to spend like the whole show on it, but let's just touch on it quickly. MVP conversations begin now. They were a quarter of the way into the season, 5 games into the season of 17-game season. And, Tom Brady is obviously going to be at the top of the league and pretty much every major statistical category. The Bucs are 4-1. He's going to be probably when this weekend's, we'll see, but he's going to be first, passing yardage, touchdowns, probably All of those, a lot of key statistics for this position. He's accounted for 16 now in the season. He's obviously clearly the MVP of one of the better teams in the league right now. So, those conversations are just starting in earnest, but it's not crazy to call him the front runner right now. Some people will probably say Kyler Murray. I know today, numbers wise, it's a numbers stat, so we don't have to even talk about anything other than that. It's a number stat, and obviously Kyler Murray's rushing yardage is going to help him a lot, but as a passer, he's also seems like he's graduated to the next level, and that team is still undefeated, narrowly edging out Trey Lance and the 49ers today, 17-10. So we'll see kind of how things proceed. But to me, it's not, I mean, he's on the short list for MVP candidates. Anybody who leaves him off is crazy. Yeah.
And I think the thing too, is you can look at both these guys, Mike Evans, who's got 4 touchdowns, which is tied for Gronk for the team lead, and Antonio Brown, who is probably the best receiver on the Bucs right now. So I think both of those guys are having Pro Bowl caliber seasons. And again, Chris Godwin's been fantastic. It's just that he has not been the guy that has gotten the touchdowns over the last couple of weeks. And part of that's by design, because he is the playmaker in this Bruce Arians scheme, playing the slot. It is the featured position. And because Chris Godwin's been bracketed so much with either, a nickel corner, linebacker underneath, and safety over the top, defending the middle of the field, you've seen what happens when Antonio Brown and Mike Evans get singled up on the outside. It's not good news for opposing defenses.
Well, here's some encouragement on the Chris Godwin front if you're wondering fantasy-wise when he's going to start scoring again. We're not slandering the Eagles too much just yet, but the Eagles like to defend if they go trips in the innermost receiver, they'll put a linebacker on him. So if the Bucs are smart, they were like, why will you go to dime defense this week? And their defensive coordinator was like, we're not really a dime team.
Speaking of the Eagles,
and they don't have good
coming off of a win today. They beat the Carolina Panthers in Carolina, and that drops the Panthers now behind Tampa Bay. So Tampa Bay now is atop the NFC South. And we saw that the Saints prevail today as well as the Atlanta Falcons. But right now the Bucs are in sole position of the NFC South lead. And you know what, John? I don't think they're going to give it up either. I think that they're going to stack enough wins here that it's going to be hard. I think that the game against the Saints on Halloween in New Orleans, the Bucs can win that. I don't think that they lose the NFC South title the rest of the way. If they lose that game, it might, allow the Panthers or the Saints to kind of sneak up into a tie, and the Bucs might recapture that later. But I tell you, if they beat the Saints in New Orleans in a couple of weeks on Halloween, I think it's going to be a stranglehold for the Bucs as long as they can stay healthy with the NFC South title in their hands.
Yeah, it is. It's clear from watching that I think because all 3 teams in the NFC South, in my opinion, are well coached, or at least coached well enough to be able to be competitive each week. You saw Atlanta, they bounced back with a couple wins now. They're 2-3. The Panthers are coming back to earth a little bit, in my opinion, Scott. Yeah. I kind of predicted this a couple weeks ago, and they were 3-0. I didn't really feel like it was going to last, and now they've lost 2 in a row, and they lose today to a Philadelphia team that's okay, but not great, and shouldn't be beating them if they're a for real 3-0 undefeated type of team, and now they're obviously 3-2, losers of 2 straight. They've got a couple semi-tough games coming up, but how they handle what is going to be pretty soft schedule for Carolina overall, if they are a good team, is going to be pretty telling for them. Saints are an enigma, and we'll get into maybe those guys later in the week, and especially next week.
The Saints go as Jameis Winston throws. That's it.
Yeah.
If he throws to gold and black, then it's good. If he throws to any other colors than those, it can be bad.
It's been even more bizarre than that with him. It's like, if they just won't let him do, but all they do is just dial up a couple deep shots, and they've been able to hit them at a crazy rate going into this game. But anyway, there's a lot of layers with the Saints. They're a very unusual team right now, and their record being 3-2 kind of suggests that they've been, and look at the results of their game, they've just been a really different team to watch week to week. So we'll see where they're at by the time the Bucs face them. But yeah, Bucs obviously getting to 4-1 was big here. As the NFC starts to take shape, we start to see who the top teams are. And defensively is the thing that, as we talk about the offense and talk about how standout performances from everyone. Levante David injured today, looked bad on the field. He kind of jumped to deflect the pass, and as he was coming down, somebody knocked Ndamukong Suh into his leg, and he kind of strained backward, and it looked bad. And then he walked off the field on his own. And so, they say the x-rays were negative, I believe, have been the reports from maybe a couple people now. And so we'll see if that's a Gronkowski x-rays or negative.
It looks like it's exactly right. It looks like it's a high ankle sprain. We're going to go to Matt Matera, who was actually there at Raymond James Stadium today, covering all the action with Casey Hudson from Pewter Report. Matt, you got to look at Levante as he came off the field. The good news is he wasn't carted. Didn't look like he was helped off the field. Was able to walk off the field on his own. Usually with high ankle sprains, you can sometimes play on it, but the next day the thing just swells up, and all of a sudden it's about 4 to 6 weeks with the injury. What did you see from Levante walking up the field, Matt?
Right. Yeah. The next 24 hours is really going to be the big thing for Levante, especially with it being a short week. It really did not look good as soon as we all saw him on the ground with trainers around him. It was one of those things where you could hear a pin drop in Raymond James Stadium, and he got a big applause after for the fact that he was able to walk out on his own. I think that was the biggest surprise, because just watching on the TV after the initial play,
and he's banging the turf with his hand. He knew he was hurt.
Yeah, and especially because, like, of all people, Ndamukong Suh fell into his ankle. And with such a big player like that, you're like, this is anyone falling into your ankle is bad, but a player of his size, it's like 10 times worse. So, it was terrible to see. I don't think anyone would expect him to play this Thursday on such a short week.
Right.
Luckily, Kevin Minter is a very formidable backup linebacker, and we've seen him play in big, important roles, including the postseason last year.
Right.
But I mean, Levante's, the leader of the defense, and anytime you lose a guy like that, it's never good, especially for a defense that's already lost so many key players.
Yeah, I would say, Matt, that the thing too that I think the Bucs can weather this storm, even if he's out for a couple of weeks, is the fact that Devin White played pretty well today. Devin White has been a player that I think we've all criticized as kind of playing out of control at times, whether it's blitzing, whether it's in coverage, whether it's just zipping around the field, missing some tackles. It looked like when he had the opportunity to make an open field tackle today, he was really dead on, finished with 8 tackles today.
One of the few guys on the team, actually, that was dead on today in any tackling. It was an atrocious performance in terms of
I thought he did quite well in covering the tight ends today. I mean, we all know that Devin White's foray is using his speed and going downhill and stopping the run. The issue is no one wants to run on the Bucs anymore. So I almost felt Devin White was slightly tame today, but I mean that in a good way, because as we've all discussed, he's going too aggressive, missing the quarterbacks. I don't think he blitzed as much as usual. I'm looking forward to rewatching this game, because you catch a lot in the press box, but watching it on TV, being able to slow it down, I think it's going to be really fun, especially when they dominate in a game like today. But a tame Devin White was almost a better Devin White for the type of defense that the Bucs are trying to implement, with all the injuries on the back end, with keeping everything in front of them. And, of course, facing an offense that has struggled and does not have the dynamic ability such as the Rams or other teams that they played this season. So 2 thumbs up for Devin White. I thought he played really well and definitely picked it up once Levante was out too.
Yeah, here's a question. Somebody, Max brings it up, and I plan on talking about it anyway, but I'm glad somebody brought it up and is thinking along these lines. Max says, Whitehead at linebacker, please, at least in passing situations. Guys, it is reaching a point where it is getting ridiculous. No one even cares about running. I don't even know if they're practicing running the football during the week before they play the Bucs. I don't know.
Miami went shotgun from the 1 yard line twice. First and goal from the 1. They went shotgun twice.
It's just, I mean, it's not even on the table for teams right now. If Todd Bowles doesn't change something, they need more speed on the field. They need more pursuit on the field, more open field tackling, guys that can close angles like that. You lose Levante David, you lose a lot of that. You bring in Kevin Minter, who missed 3 tackles in the second half. A couple of them ended up resulting in pretty big plays. I'm not trying to knock Minter, but it was a problem last year when he got on the field too. Reality is the guy is not built to play in space like that. That's not, I mean, maybe when he was younger, it was fine, but it's not now. And they need a plan for these situations. Teams are going to go to the air to you. They're never going to throw on you in any second and long. They're just not. And even
John,
if they are,
that's a great
Jordan
point.
Whitehead is a great run defender. So play him some at linebacker in these situations. Get more DBs on the field, especially if Winfield's back.
Matt, you're talking about what you saw there, and that's an amazing observation that in goal line situations that the Dolphins were in the shotgun twice. And the funny thing is Miami actually averaged 4.3 yards per carry, right? I mean, Myles Gaskin averaged 5 yards a carry. The problem is they only ran it 5 times, 25 yards.
13-yard run,
Exactly, yeah. And so, you look at Preston Williams, he had a 7-yard run on an end around. Ahmed had
and that was actually a lateral pass, Scott, by the way, that Preston Williams and Jalen
Right.
Waddle both had
Yeah.
short gains that counted as rushes because they were lateral
They
passes.
called it a rush in the press box. I was like,
Yeah.
wait, what?
And it was, 'cause it was technically, so that's actually how you run the ball. It was literally a drop back to pass.
Yeah.
And that's what teams are,
right. But John, you're right. They only tried running the ball 9 times, 9 carries, 39 yards. They average 4.3 yards per carry, but they're just not even.
And only 7 of those were actual running back carries.
Yeah,
like that's
exactly.
just. So again, what I'm saying here is that if you're the Bucs, you can't let teams keep doing this. You have to teams are going to run plays against you. You have to
play cover 2.
You essentially have to dare them.
Yeah,
you have to dare them to run the football.
Yeah, just come out and like dime defense.
Yeah,
3 down linemen. Just say, come at us.
Just have Vita Vea line up at nose tackle. Let everyone else stand up and say, "All right, try to figure us out from here."
Yeah.
We're playing We're playing a 110 defense.
Yeah.
Philadelphia's kind of been, we're not to get into the Eagles too much because we'll do that later this week, obviously. But Philadelphia's biggest rushing threat is Jalen Hurts, whether on designed runs or just scrambles. He leads them in rushing this season, and they've been fine running the football outside of him as well. They've been productive enough with Miles Sanders and Kenneth Gainwell, but they don't have like a feared rushing attack. There's no question Philadelphia will probably run it against the Bucs more than any other team they'll face this year, more than any other team they've faced so far, other than maybe the Rams, because that was just late in the game they were running. But that will be something they'll have to maybe game plan specifically for what Philadelphia does, because it is a little more of a unique attack. But overall, yeah, and I think having Jordan Whitehead on the field, even in those situations, he is that good of a run defender. It's not really about size at that position when you're talking about a guy that plays as fast downhill as Jordan Whitehead does. I just want to see him around the line of scrimmage more if Winfield's back. Obviously, that's the caveat. Philadelphia has legit speed at wide receiver too, so there'll be interesting wrinkles to this game plan, but reality is a short week. We don't know if Winfield will be back. Pretty sure Levante David's probably not going to play. Carlton Davis, Sean Murphy-Bunting, obviously on injured reserve, they're not going to play. So you get into this situation now, guys, where, okay, you could be, again, for another game, missing 4 guys. Jason Pierre-Paul missed how many tackles today because he had that club on his arm?
Yeah, I felt bad for him.
It's just, he's limited in what he can do and how effective he is. Yeah. They're just really beat up, man. Like, they don't have a lot of talent right now. Richard Sherman, hats off to him for working, and maybe it still comes together, but, he hasn't looked good at all. This game was more concerning to me than the last one, because this game, it felt like it was just like moving, like it was hard, and down the field, it felt like his technique was falling, or he was panicking a little bit. Maybe he's not trusting his technique right now, but it just seems like there's some questions and concerns there. Also, maybe it's crazy for the Bucs to ask him to play a whole game in that heat. Like, maybe they need to not ask him, like, do you need a playoff? Because he's a competitor, he's not going to say it. Maybe you just need to have that rotation planned for him and not, plan for him to play the whole game just because his name's Richard Sherman. Like, I think that would have been better coaching, but right now, Todd Bowles has his work cut out for him for sure, trying to scheme this one up better, especially if his pass rush continues to not be able to sack and finish quarterbacks who they've been in position so many times this year. That would change the results for this defense a lot if they could finish better.
John, speaking of change, I'm going to dip out and bring in Casey Hudson, who's also at the stadium today, along with Matt Matera, talking some more with Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Awesome. Sounds good. Casey Hudson in the house. What's up, Casey? What were your observations from the stadium today?
Oh, I wish I could say they were the exact same as Matt's, but they're not. No, I'm kidding.
Good. Get after him.
And I agreed on a lot of things that took place during the game. But the one thing you guys just mentioned that was kind of funny to me is JPP. I was just kind of like, I felt like they shouldn't have rushed him to come back, not to play against the Dolphins. Because you could see in some of his tackles, it was really hard for him to kind of commit to those wrap-ups with what was on his arm. And that's got to be more frustrating for a player, not only physically, but mentally. Yep. So hopefully that doesn't carry into, heading off to play against the Eagles at their home. Other than that, I know a lot of people have questioned my love for Tom Brady, whether I love him, whether I hate him, how do I feel about the guy? I've got to give it to him.
Who's questioned this?
Oh my gosh. I think it was the first 2 or 3 podcasts I did when I joined you guys. It was like, Casey's got it out for Tom Brady. Like, I never wanted to give him credit. And it's like, no, I'm just not over here rolling out the red carpets for the guy. Like, it's the beginning of the season. So for him to get those 5 touchdown passes and break over 400 yards, and now he's becoming this quote unquote mobile quarterback is absolutely insane to me. So, I've got to give
dual threat.
Dual threat, as Matt put it. He's a new dual threat in the league right now. I was a big fan of seeing, I guess, the most successful run game we've seen so far this year. And I think it's kind of a clear-cut answer that playoff Lenny, or whatever he wants to call himself today, is that QB1. I don't know why even after today's game, even after last week's game, why there's still topic of, kind of Rojo kind of having that spot. Weirdly enough, too, Gio Bernard, for him to come back from a knee injury and to still, in my personal opinion, be a lot more effective and a lot more of a presence than Ronald Jones. And then he's still just only referred to as this third down back. I think that's something that has to change, too. I mean, he showed a lot today, in my opinion.
Does Bruce Arians want to talk about I love it. Like Bruce Arians after the game, oh yeah, if Giovanni Bernard, I didn't like how he got ran through in pass protection, and if he does that, he's going to lose his job. No, totally get it. But look, buddy, last year, Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones were falling all over themselves trying to pass protect, and you never put that on the line. Yeah. Gio misses one block, and all of a sudden his job's on the line.
Gio's got to work on stop somersaulting into the end zone every time he scores a touchdown. He just goes flying every time he reaches.
No backflips after you just recovered from a knee situation. But two things on that. Bruce Arians, I mean, one of my favorite coaches, no joke. But honestly, I've lost trust in what he says about these guys sometimes. Because last year or the year before, it was like, if you don't have ball security, you don't have job security. Well, Ronald Jones is still being backed up as this quality running back. And I'm not saying that he's not. He's just not producing. And most teams wouldn't have still given him a chance going into weeks 3, weeks 4, and let alone week 5. Yeah. And then as for Bernard's blocking, he's 165 pounds wet and barely 5'7".
165. He's gonna be salty if he hears this podcast.
Sorry, guy. Maybe I'm just thinking of post-game weight after you sweat and haven't eaten.
Sweat it all out.
But he's
not a big back. Yeah, right. Built, but small, short back and stout for sure. But I just thought late in the game. I mean, that's still the starting defense out there. That's still your starting O-line. And Giovanni Bernard showed that burst and acceleration. And that was, he can run the football. Crazy.
Average 5.3 yards per carry.
Can you?
That was 0.3 yards less than.
Right now,
let's put it this way. He tied with Rojo for yards today. And then, Leonard Fournette, I think that he's kind of just going to keep building on the momentum game by game, because I think you touched on it earlier, John, but he had a great, breakout season when he first joined the league, over 1,000 yards. He kind of fell off his second year, but I'm pretty sure he was working through an injury that year. And then his third year, he broke over 1,100 yards before coming here. And then there was so much controversy and talk about him being the RB1 and, what's going to happen there. And he kept trying to subside all of that. But I think now that he's got a silent confidence to him, showing that he's capable of doing it, he could be looking at another 1,000+ yard season and, securing a bigger role with the Bucs. I think it'd be crazy not to.
Yeah, I thought it was just so silly that, not that he can't point out what Giovanni Bernard did wrong there. I have no problem with that. It's just so funny to me with last year, you had probably two of the worst pass protecting backs in the entire league on the same team, and you didn't really hear any of that noise. So pretty remarkable, pretty funny. I will say Fournette is improved in that area, and that's probably something Arians is taking into consideration as he looks at the jobs there. Casey, I want to get your game balls here for a second, but first, you play that guitar over there? Are you going to you put that in the shot on purpose.
No, I really tried not to. You guys would have seen me navigating. I turned on my on-screen camera to get it out because I wanted no questions about it. So low-key, I kind of, according to Fender Play on the app, I can play 10 songs. According to myself, I maybe can play 2.5. It depends on the day. For a female, it's hard because nails make us look more feminine and feel good about ourselves, but you can't do anything with them. So
it makes it more difficult to play the guitar.
Yeah, and I don't like using the pick. I'm just I don't know, I'm very awkward with that. So somewhat. Well,
I'm not going to put you on the spot today, but I'm just saying at some point on the show, we're going to need some live
open
music.
Up?
Yes, please. Write us an opener maybe and just open that thing up.
PR intro.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun for sure. Hey, by the way, before we do these game balls presented by Manscaped, if we could, let's talk about our friends over at Pin Chasers, because speaking of a lot of fun and a good time, this is where it can happen, right, Matt? And you've got updated news maybe for us on the Pewter Report Bowling League.
Yes, I do. The Pewter Report Bowling League will actually be moved to Wednesdays due to a scheduling conflict, and we're pushing it back a couple weeks to the 27th. So October 27th on Wednesday at 6:30 is when the Pewter Report Bowling League will start. Very excited to get that underway. It's right before the crucial matchup between the Bucs and the Saints on Halloween in New Orleans, so we can discuss that a lot. But yeah, Pin Chasers, it's an awesome place. It's a great time to go with either friends or family for a night out. They got special events literally like every single day of the week. Tuesday is pizza night, where you can get all-you-can-eat pizza for $11.99 after 9 p.m. Thursday night, it's all-you-can bowl after 9 p.m. plus $1 Miller Lite, so you can watch the Thursday night football game, which the Bucs are playing in this week, and enjoy some Miller Lights and bowl all at the same time, unlimited. They got 3 different locations, with one including on Armenia, right by the Bucs facility, where the Pewter Report Bowling League will be going on. It's a family-owned business. They're huge Bucs fans. They've been around for over 60 years. So if you want to reserve a lane or set up a party, go to pinchasers.net. Great family atmosphere, and you will have a lot of fun. Plus, the grill itself is awesome. You can have breakfast at any time. You can literally go there right now and have some breakfast if you wanted to. So make sure you check out Pin Chasers, and you will be happy that you did. For sure.
I really do want to do that, Matt. I really want to get breakfast.
I want to get all chocolate chip pancakes right now. I could really go for some pancakes.
The pizza was like our favorite thing. So funny enough that Pin Chasers, like all of that talk, I grew up here in Tampa for the most part after my dad retired from the military. And we used to go to Pin Chasers once a week to bowl and do pizza. And then when we were old enough, it was pizza and beer. But we used to get so competitive with it. And we used to go to the Pin Chasers on down line ball. I think it's the Veterans one or whichever it's called. Mm-hmm. So I asked Matt today if I can join the league, but
that's awesome.
We want you to join the league.
Yeah, join the league. Wednesday nights.
People as
I'm not wearing gloves or polos, but I want to play.
Are you gonna be honest? Are you gonna smoke people when they get? Because there's a lot of people right now who are thinking about joining the league in the chat right now. I can see them processing. They want to know if they're gonna go there, and you're just gonna destroy.
The only thing I'll say is that Sundays was me and my dad's bowling time on base. So every time that he had a break on Sundays, my dad and I would bowl together.
So you had a day of the week designated to bowling.
Like I was considering having a custom bag to carry.
Okay, you're going to win the league.
No.
Look, everyone in the chat, still come out and join the Pewter Report Bowling League.
Yes, because there are adjusted scores. They handicap the scores, so it makes makes the playing level even. Oh. So you could be a really bad bowler, but you get a handicap score to make it really fair. So there you go. Okay. It doesn't matter how good or bad you are. It makes it competitive.
Yeah. See, Matt's encouraged.
It'd be like giving the Dolphins, I don't know, 15 points and being like, okay, now go play against the Bucs. The Bucs still would have won today, but it's the same idea.
The bowling league starts October 27th.
Correct.
And your mustache will be on or off at that point, Matt?
It will be off. I got to shave it for my Halloween costume.
Okay,
so,
I knew that, but Halloween's the 31st. I didn't know if you would shave it before.
Well, the thing is, I want to shave it now so I can fill in like a little tan. So it's not like the front part of my face is tan, and then
don't give away your Halloween costume.
Yeah, I won't. I won't.
Let's get to some Manscaped game balls, though. Your balls will thank you. All right, Casey, let's start with you. What do you got here for this game? Offense, defense. If you feel like it's so inclined to add a special teamer in there, go for it. But who's getting your game balls?
Okay, I'm glad you said that. I'll get to that one in a second. Gosh, can I do a tie for offense? It's honestly insane to not give a ball to Tom Brady for obviously his performance. But Antonio Brown, I mean, he broke a record today. What was it? The 900.
Yep. 900 career receptions.
Thank you very much, Matthew. So it's hard not to give him that. And then he had that amazing catch off the back shoulder from Blaine Gabbert. He was watching him play today, you just knew he really has fun playing football, which made it that much more exciting to watch. So I'm interested to see how much better, how many more yards, how many more touchdowns he's going to get throughout this season, as long as everybody stays healthy. As for defense, I think it's kind of a given that Shaq Barrett showed up a lot more today. I love that in press conferences, somebody's like,
stole everybody's pick.
Did he re-earn the name Sack Barrett? He said not yet. He needs 3 in a game, but I still think he totally deserves that. And for special teams, I don't know if anyone else really caught it. I had thankfully a press box vantage view, but Mike Evans' last touchdown of the game, him getting into the end zone, Mickens kind of made a block there for him to get in.
Oh, I see
You
what you're
did
doing.
point that out. You did mention that in the press.
And it was, I'm not gonna lie, he kind of ping-ponged off the guy, but it was very helpful and it was very effective in the moment. So I'm gonna give a little something to Mickens there. You can tell he kind of put some drive out there. So
all right. Hey, look, we're gonna clip this, put it on social media, tag Mickens, and I bet he'll retweet it because that guy, he loved.
Yeah.
I just love Mickens though. You're exactly right, Casey. I said it on the live stream. You know, just getting out there for one play, somebody else makes a catch, getting in the way, trying to create something for a team. Like, I love that. Like, I think that was a great effort by him.
I love seeing that hustle, and I love seeing that effort. I mean, and if you rewatch the tape, and John, we know that you watch tape like a fanatic, so maybe let us know down the week. But I mean, it was almost very close to the point where if Mickens did not make that block, like Evans could have been clipped, it could have been short, a yard or two. Like, I think it was actually very beneficial. Luna,
is that a cat?
It's my puppy.
Oh, puppy. Oh, wait, bring it on the screen.
Bring it on.
He's chirping in. Come, monkey.
Puppy.
We're a pro puppy podcast.
Pro puppy pod.
She's the world's most giant puppy. Come, monkey. Come here. Here you go.
All right, while the puppy's coming, Matt, you want to give your offensive and defensive game balls.
She's working on
it. For the offensive side of the ball, I'm going to go with Leonard Fournette. First of all, just overarching look at the offense. This type of game just showed how dominant this team can be when they're clicking. And, scoring 45 points, only punting one time, scoring a touchdown every single time, except for kicking one field goal, just shows how dominating they can be. There's the cute pup right there. But Leonard Fournette, the growth that he's had over the past couple games as a rusher, but even in the passing game as well, too, he's been just as important as all the other big name receivers that we've mentioned. It's not just that he's getting receiving yards and moving down the field. I mean, today he was breaking ankles, making defenders miss. I mean, he got one first down where he carried a defender for like an extra 5 yards after he already got the first down and set the Bucs up with first and goal. What he's doing right now, it looks like old school Lenny, vintage Lenny, whatever Lenny you want to call him. I thought he was tremendous in this game. He's been great over the last 2 weeks. He's hitting his over on receiving yards like every single game. So everyone just keep taking that.
Yeah, receiving yards today. And just to chime in on Twitter, I guess he gave himself a new nickname. He's going by all season Lenny.
Yeah, he had that picture of him after he scored the touchdown.
Yeah.
He's getting out of hand.
Which was cool.
This is getting out of Meanwhile, Shaq Barrett doesn't want his nickname. He's said, I'm not taking Shaq Barrett.
One guy wants a million nicknames. The other guy doesn't want any. So go figure.
Your birth certificate, choose one.
Yeah.
All right, that's good stuff. Oh, wait, did you give a defensive one, Matt?
I didn't. I mean, the main guy would be Shaq Barrett, obviously, but since he was already taken, I'll go with Jamel Dean. It was good for him to get back on track. The Bucs are going to obviously need him moving forward with all the injuries to the secondary. So he made up for the dropped interception in Los Angeles. The ball comes to you, you got to make the play, and he did. So, that was encouraging to see for him.
Yeah, and that was obviously kind of just a lucky pick more than anything
else.
But I thought overall he still played really well, which is to your point.
Yeah.
I think it's a great choice, Matt, and why it was going to be my choice. But no, it's cool. I let other people go first. So then when I come up, I don't sound original at all. I get it.
You're a gentleman. That's why.
But no, I think you're exactly right. The Bucs need, it's crazy to say, but the Bucs need Dean to be a stabilizing force for this defense, and he was in this game. He was. We'll see moving forward if he can sustain that the next couple of weeks. Again, that don't necessarily face the most potent passing offenses, so we'll see. But yeah, the Bucs need that kind of play out of Jamel Dean. What he did today is exactly what they need. He broke up a couple passes as well on this day. So yeah, I thought he was very reliable, very solid all the way across the board. Got rewarded for it with that lucky pick at the end, and on a day where it was a little bit tough sledding for Richard Sherman. Again, everybody's going to come out of this game and come out of watching Brissett and say they're going to do the same thing they've done before and say, oh, man, the Bucs can't cover it all. These cornerback group sucks. And, I mean, how many catches were like, oh, wow, these guys can't cover today? Like, that wasn't the story. Most
right,
of them
it's all underneath. And Myles Gaskin, other than Williams, Gaskin was like the most threatening receiver in the game. So,
and he's just look at
Gaskin was by far their most effective receiver in this game. Even if you just look at the box score results from this one, I mean, he had 10 catches for 74 yards. Preston Williams had 3 for 60, but 34 of that came on a short underneath pass that they're letting be caught, but they got to make the tackle, and they don't do that. And that's the problem here. Like, to me, not the ability to actually cover. That might be a problem at some point. Just right now, there are other issues for the Bucs they've got to figure out. I'm not saying I'm super confident in, Richard Sherman, whatever version of this there is right now, and Dean and all these guys. I'm just saying the bigger problem right now lies in other areas, not in whether these corners can cover or not. We'll get to that, I'm sure, at some point down the road. So some good stuff for both of you. We're going to bring in a couple more people to give their Manscaped game balls. Casey, Matt, appreciate your time on the show. Now we are going to bring in Scott and bring in JC and try and get their thoughts on some of their Manscaped game balls for this performance. Scott, Josh, what do you guys think of this one? I mean, we got ourselves a little bit of a blowout here finally. I know one person predicted a blowout. Who predicted a blowout this week, JC?
I mean, I think me and you both did. You did, right?
Yeah. Could you figure out during the game how the Bucs got to 45 points? Was it
difficult. I struggled with it a little bit. I was like, 45, is that 7 touchdowns, 6 times 3 plus safety? No,
right,
there's no safety.
How do you get the safety? No, but it was that kind of a game, and you and I kind of predicted that it would be that way. Scott didn't have the faith, and he thought it would be a real close game.
Well, John, it was close until the fourth quarter.
It was. By the way, can we talk about that? We're talking about this game laughing, but it was 24-17 at the beginning. I mean, the Bucs scored in the first play of the fourth quarter. But the end of the third quarter, it was a one-score game. Bucs had the ball, obviously, right at the goal line. But yeah, there's no doubt this game was very reminiscent of the Raider game last year. I feel like where the Bucs
I thought it was kind of similar to the Falcons game, although instead of Mike Edwards scoring 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns, it was Mike Evans. So
I see what you did there.
Yeah, the little Emmy action there in the fourth quarter gave the Buccaneers the win in both of those games.
All right. Well, we got our friends over at Manscaped, and we got these Manscaped game balls. So as I pull this one up, Josh, why don't you go ahead and give your Manscaped game balls for the Bucs Week 5 performance against the Dolphins, offense and defense?
First off, I just want to say, tackling, what is going on here?
Oh, yeah. I didn't even get to ask you about that.
Driving me insane here. I mean, just you guys are professional athletes and some of the best tacklers in the NFL, and consistently just not wrapping up. The sacks. How many sacks did you count there? At least 3 or 4.
Yeah.
That they just let them.
I went back and watched the film after the game, and I counted. They finished with 3 sacks, JC. I counted that they missed 5 others. So they should have had 8. And now it's 6 because Levante David got credit for the sack. It was really Joe Tryon who missed it. So technically it was 5, but Tryon should have had 2 in the first quarter, but he missed both of them.
Yeah, and to me, that's one of the biggest takeaways of this game. And I don't want to seem a Debbie Downer because they did come out, rally behind in the fourth quarter. I predicted that, whether it was Flores or whatever, they would have some struggles moving the ball early on in the game, and you kind of saw that happen in the first quarter. Brady kind of started to figure it out, and then they just got going, and it was over. But man, tackling has got to be a lot better. It can't be like that. And you're facing a team that, Gaskins tore you up, from design plays, dinking and dunk, and putting him in matchup coverage situations when he's on JPP of all pulching space. But I mean, you can't do that.
Isn't that an automatic, target, right? When you hear the play call in the huddle, Myles Gaskins, on the wheel routes, and you see clubbed JPP out there, that's where you're going with the ball.
Yeah, it's no doubt about it. Kill. We're just gonna throw it this one arm.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I just think that it's not gonna that's not gonna fly against other teams. I mean, you mentioned not getting too much.
JC, bingo. You're exactly right. That's not going to fly against other teams. It's not going to fly on Thursday night because Jalen Hurts running the ball is going to make people miss.
Scott's all about
it's going to come back to bite him right now on Thursday night. Yeah,
I agree. And that's exactly where I was going with that. Jalen Hurts, and not only that, then you get Alvin Kamara coming up soon after that as well.
Yeah,
Justin Fields, who can move out of the pocket and make some things happen with his legs. I don't know what you're going to do when you face these dual threat quarterbacks and just quarterbacks who can make plays, sustain drives and make plays. So definitely got to get better at wrapping up when it comes to sacking, when it comes to tackling, everything like that. Because, I think what you guys were talking about, and I was listening, putting Jordan Whitehead at linebacker really seems like a good idea. I really think I can get behind something.
I've been asking for it for a year. Yeah. It's not going to happen, JC.
Dude, just listen. I love the idea, John. Just make him the dime linebacker.
Kevin Minter's going to play 100% of snaps on Thursday night. I
Please
promise
no.
you, watch.
Speaking of missed tackles on Jalen Hurts, coming Thursday night to a TV screen near you.
Kevin Minter. He probably led
And
the
I
way
love
today
Kevin.
missed tackles.
I love Kevin.
Did too.
But
did
you
too,
know
for
what?
sure.
I much prefer the 25-year-old Kevin as
It will
opposed
not
to
hurt so good.
30-year-old.
He and JPP and Joe Trine-Schwenk all missed a bunch of tackles today.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, as we mentioned earlier, Devin White really did not. Some of the defenders back as well. I think Whitehead and Edwards both missed a tackle or two, but it was bad in that performance in that regard. And we mentioned it coming into the game. They were 27th in missed tackles. And when the sacks we've talked about it at length. The reason that they're not maybe high as they should be, and they're getting up there now again, as I said that they would once they face worse offenses, but they need to finish better.
And on Thursday, we'll get into this during the week, but Devontae Smith, Miles Sanders, Jalen Hurts, you're talking about some guys that can really make you miss. And it can be more dangerous on Thursday night than it was today with the missed tackles.
And it wasn't even missed tackles too. It was dragging guys. They were dragging guys for extra yards. So, I mean, that's just got to improve. Once you make contact, you got to bring them down. You can't go for a 5-yard ride. It was great to see when Leonard did it. And it was great to see, on the Bucs side, but you can't have your defenders going for rides like that, giving up extra yards, because Yak is still killing this team, killing it.
Yeah.
You mentioned Preston Williams, that big run that he had. I mean,
right. It was like a 2-yard pass.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's been something that's consistently hurt the team for sure. And we'll see, obviously, if they can adjust and start to tackle and finish better. But okay, JC, Manscaped game balls. Before we get to your choices here for offense and defense, I just want to let you both know that if you don't have, and anybody else out there, by the way, if you don't have the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0, you got to get it, because this is the Tom Brady of ball trimmers, the brand new Lawnmower 4.0, only the GOAT technology for the greatest balls of all time. And when you're going toward the end zone, make sure you use the right tools for the job and choose Manscaped. 2 million men worldwide trust Manscaped. So join the movement with this exclusive offer. Look at it right there on the screen. You can read it right there. Pewter20 is the promo code. PEWTER20. Manscaped.com. You get 20% off plus free shipping plus something else cool that Scott will tell you about in a little bit here. But let me tell you a little bit about the Performance Package 4.0, because I know all of you in the chat, you're extremely intrigued now. You see the energy and the passion with which I'm providing this promo read to you, and you're saying, wow, he actually cares about this. He actually cares about us shaving our balls. And yes, I absolutely do. The Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, it has an unbelievable light. You can see extremely well with it. It's extremely comfortable, nice and quiet. It's waterproof. There's a travel lock on it so that battery doesn't run out. It's an unbelievable product. And it gives you that close, comfortable shave without any nicks or anything like that. So the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, obviously that's the game changer. But the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, also an excellent tool. The Crop Preserver ball deodorant, the Crop Reviver toner. If you never put ball deodorant on, you've never lived. I'm telling you right now in the chat, you may think you've lived. You may have traveled the world and seen lots of sights and sounds and wonderful things, but you've never lived until you've put deodorant on your balls. Haven't lived. Crop Reviver toner, another thing. Unbelievable. Plus 2 free gifts, the Performance Boxer Briefs and the Shed Travel Bag. Look at the Shed Travel Bag. Let's get it up for the Shed Travel Bag. Yes. A little golf clap for the Shed Travel
bag.
Terrific stuff. Yeah, it's unbelievable. So anyway, like I'm saying, Manscaped, it's the absolute best. You won't be sorry you made this purchase. You won't be sorry if you get it for somebody else as a gift. They won't be sorry that you got it for them as a gift. It might be a little weird for them, but they'll get over it because it's that good. 20% off plus free shipping with that promo code Pewter20, PEWTER20 at manscaped.com, plus a little something extra Scott's going to throw in for you as incentive to shave your balls.
That's right. We have been giving away these free Pewter Report t-shirts. I said free because they are. This is the awesome pewter gray looking one. We have them in black. We also have them in white for days like today when the Bucs are in their all white uniforms and it's hot outside. The white might be the one you want. All I need from you is when you make the purchase using the Pewter20 promo code from Manscaped, you're going to get an emailed receipt. I need you to forward that to me at sr@pewterreport.com. Easy to remember, Scott Reynolds, sr@pewterreport.com. And just tell me what color you want and what size you need, and I will ship you the t-shirt absolutely free. So the great thing is whether you're buying Manscaped for yourself, whether you're buying it as a gift for somebody. Listen, the holiday seasons are rapidly approaching. Now's the time. I gave away 3 of these Manscaped performance packages last year as gifts, and I got 3 thumbs up. So it was a fantastic gift all the way around. the t-shirt is yours. Or if you want to give it away too as another gift, you're welcome to do that. So just email me that receipt, sr@pewterreport.com, when you make your purchase. And if you listen, if you guys have not experienced Manscaped yet, do it. I'm absolute 1,000% believer in this product. I would never have purchased it. I'm serious. I've heard about it before. Would never have purchased it before. They sent it to me for free as part of this paid promotional sponsorship here, and not just me, but all the Pewter Report staff. We love the product. We really do.
Yeah.
This is a fun, easy read commercial for us to do because we definitely believe in it, as we do all of our products. But Manscaped certainly is the real deal.
There you go. Game balls presented by Manscaped. Your balls will thank you. JC, your offensive and defensive game balls.
Let me just say something. There's a lot of Buccaneers podcasts out there. A lot of them, pregame, postgame, during the week, but none of them care about your balls as much as John and Pewter Report truly care. We care about your balls.
Me. It's a little weird, but yeah.
Yes. So I'm going to go. I got kind of roasted by you for some reason last week with picking this guy. So I'm going to pick him again and say, stick that in your.
I don't even remember this. I believe you. Mike Evans, yeah. Yeah, great performance. Yeah, he was good.
Yeah, great performance. I mean, sealed the
deal.
Other
than the drop, yeah.
Damn, John. You only had 2 touchdowns and 100 yards. Give me that.
3 touchdowns, 34-yard long, 2 nice long touchdown passes to seal the game, wrap it up, put a nice little bow tie on it, and say, get back to Miami. We're the one team in Florida. So he's going to get my offensive game ball. And then I'm going to move to the defensive side, obviously, because that's what we do. And I'm going to give the game ball to someone that me and Scott talked about as a matchup to watch. And I mean, he did have a little whoopsie on one of these plays, but I mean, tackling has been an issue for all these guys, but I'm going to give it to Ross Cockerell. I'm going to give the game ball to Cockerell. He had a really difficult challenge going up against Jalen Waddle. He had a good
suspended from the ball.
That's his nickname.
And this on the heels of the Manscaped read too, JC.
Definitely not his nickname.
Jalen Waddle for two catches, 31 yards, had a huge pass deflection that ended a drive for them. And
my wife's crying, laughing in the other room. I can hear her.
Yeah. So, and you know what? He ruined me and Scott's our underdog. I can't even think of what it's called right now because
doesn't matter.
Yeah, Leonard Fournette hit going over 63.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown hit, but Ross Cockerell, he locked down Jalen Waddle and his balls. To the tune of two catches and 31 yards.
Damn you, Ross Cockerell.
We gotta get you off this
good
podcast.
On Sunday against the Dolphins. Damn you.
Yep. So those are my guys.
Excellent work, JC. A little golf clap for JC. Excellent job, JC. Way to get through that segment. Way to power through. Hey, Scott.
I like it.
Scott, do you want me to go next?
No, I'll go next, John.
Oh, cool.
Because I don't want you stealing my picks. I want to put you in the last position because I know you're going to steal my. I know you're going to steal my picks. So. So with my game ball presented by Manscaped, let's see. I'm going to start on the defensive side. Why? Because I'm a defensive-minded guy. As much as I want to give it to Shaq Barrett, because listen, the fact is this guy should have 4.5 sacks and 3 forced fumbles. Okay, he should have had a sack against the Falcons. He timed it perfectly. It should have been a sack fumble. The refs completely screwed him of that opportunity because they called him offsides. Instant replay showed he literally jumped the snap right. So he has 3.5 sacks due to his sack and a half today. He should have 4.5. He should also have 3 forced fumbles, John, because he got robbed of a forced fumble last week when he punched the ball out in New England. So as much as I want to give it to him, he also missed a sack and a half today as well. So I can't give it to him. I got to give it to Jamel Dean. Okay, what's interesting about Dean is look at this. He's picking off the pass. Who is right there in front of him? Who is looking at Jamel Dean make that interception? Todd Bowles.
Todd Bowles.
Todd
Bowles. Todd Bowles looking at him saying, there you go, Jamel. You make that interception. And listen, it's like that's what they need from Jamel Dean. They need him to not drop interceptions but catch him. This guy has not had an interception since October 18th of last year in week 6 against the Packers. So this was, I think, a big confidence-building game for him. He made the splash play when it was presented to him. I agree, John. Interceptions can be fluky. That was a fluky one, but he dropped a fluky one in LA. So it's nice for him to catch one here. It's his first of the year. So I think that Jamel Dean deserves the game ball. Now on the offensive side, and I'm gonna grab him because I don't want you to steal him, John. Blaine Gabbert. Okay, I mean it's pretty easy when you look at Blaine Gabbert. Okay, I mean listen, everyone's focusing on Tom Brady, 411 yards, 5 touchdowns, 144 quarterback rating. Okay, well the only reason why Blaine Gabbert's 109.4 quarterback rating was not as high as Tom is because of 2 things. Number one, he didn't get to play till the end of the game. Okay. But if you noticed on the first snap that he's in there, what did he do? He drew a roughing the passer penalty. So he's in there. The first snap he fumbled. No. He picked it up and he threw the ball, which was a completion. Then he got hit as he threw the ball. So he actually drew a 15-yard pass interference penalty. So right out of the gate, Blaine is hot. Okay.
Took one for the team.
He did, right. So then what
he was hot before the game. Let's just be honest.
He's always hot. Let's be fair. But the thing is John, is Blaine comes out and completes all 4 of his passes, including an amazing back shoulder throw to Antonio Brown for 23 yards. Beautiful throw and catch there by Blaine, who I call BG, and AB, who of course is Antonio Brown. So BG on fire. Then what happens, right? He has a great pass down to the red zone. Tyler Johnson, all right. Damn you, Tyler Johnson, for robbing Blaine of his first touchdown pass by not eluding a tackle and getting caught. Then Bruce Arians has to play nice guy and say, okay, well, we have no problem having Tom Brady throw touchdown passes inside the 10-yard line, right? He threw 2 of those today, one to Giovanni Bernard, the other to Antonio Brown. Does Blaine Gabbert get that? No, they have to do the kneel down. Which is
they don't want a quarterback controversy.
Well, of course not. I mean, it makes some sense, get that? John.
No.
But the thing is, then to add insult to Blaine's awesome day, well, does he get to hand off the ball? No, he doesn't hand off the ball. He's got to take 3 kneel downs for -1 yard to just to fluff
Great
up.
job by him, though, on the kneel downs. He didn't lose a yard every kneel down. That's
true. He only lost 1.
Great dedication to making sure you only give up a third of a yard each time. That's great.
I mean, he's a mobile quarterback, right? And yes, I listen. I'm going to give Tom credit. He ran for 13 yards today. Good job, Tom. You're 44.
But
nice
could he
job.
kneel like that? I don't think.
I don't think so. I think probably if you give Brady 3 kneel downs, it's -3 yards. Blaine only got -1. So
great game ball choice. Yeah, and the Bucs still undefeated when Blaine Gabbert plays, by the way. So
that's a fact, John. You stole my thunder. That's a fact.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Great job. Well, Brian Shucker says game ball to C deserves a few bucks. I think we probably know who he's talking about thanks to JC, but he's going to show some discretion there, put the 3 dots there and not spell it out. Appreciate that, Brian, and appreciate the $5 super chat as well. Charlie wanted everybody to know Blaine is coming. Gabbert, the most underrated player in the league. Absolutely. I don't think there's any question about it. Speaking of underrated, something not a lot of Bucs fans may know is the fact that Whiskey Wings in Temple Terrace is a game-changing place to get your food, to watch the games, to have a few drinks. It's an unbelievable setup there. They've only been open less than a year, about a year now, actually. One of these days right here is going to be their 1-year anniversary, actually. So get out there, check out, look at the size of this chicken sandwich. Unbelievable. And the taste is unbelievable as well. So make sure when you're looking for places to watch the big game, or if you're looking for places to watch college football on the weekends, they've got tons of TVs, outdoor, indoor bar, great atmosphere, lots of specials. If you look throughout the days of the week at their different specials, their wings are for real wings. Their sandwiches are for real sandwiches. We're not getting dinky food here. You're talking about the real deal stuff. And
I got the wings and sliders last time after the Pats game.
So good.
Oh, so good.
Right? Yeah, it's awesome. So make sure you check out Whiskey Wings in Temple Terrace. They have a bunch of locations as well, including one in St. Pete. So make sure you're checking those out. All right, my game balls, guys. Time for me to deliver here now that you've left me so much to work with. Offensively, I'm going to go with Antonio Brown. I mean, Tom Brady was sensational.
Shocker.
There's no
former Steeler. Shocker.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
He clearly didn't deserve it today. He clearly was bad. Yeah. But the other thing was that Antonio Brown got matched up with Xavier Howard several times in this game. And you could see him in that picture, leaving Xavier Howard in the dust. And there's a lot of cornerback people that I know that watch tape and scout, and they say Xavier Howard's, in the conversation with Jalen Ramsey for best cornerback in the league. I personally think that's quite ridiculous, and I've always really thought that, even when Xavier Howard had 10 interceptions last year. But either way, the point is that smarter people than me think he's really, really freaking good, and Antonio Brown made him look like a clown. So I think Antonio Brown deserves the game ball, had an unbelievable game, could have had a huge game last week, honestly, and had a couple of the drop and the penalty. It took probably 70-some yards off the table for him. So I think he's just continues to blow the doors off this season when he's out there. It is such a game changer for the Bucs, especially when teams want to go man heavy against Tampa Bay's Arsenal. So game ball to Antonio Brown. Also, shout out to Tom Brady for being just unbelievable. I'm in awe every time. It's a pleasure. And honestly,
you're talking about Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr.
I am.
Yes.
I am. A special player. Player. Pretty good.
He
Yeah,
definitely
might
is
be pretty
Manscaped.
good.
I'm telling you, those. Yeah, we'll leave it there.
Think he might be pretty good. Oh, Brian Chucker with a $50 super chat.
Wow.
This take by Scott made my night. I haven't sat in my West Club seat yet this season due to back surgery in August. Been selling or donating. You guys made watching at home even more fun today. Man, appreciate that, Brian. Brian gave us two $20 super chats on the live in-game stream today, guys. So Brian is just
that's fantastic.
He's getting everybody ring light. I told him he paid for Paul's ring light that he got, and
That's
he
right.
paid for
Paul
Paul's
good
microphone that he got. Like everybody today with the super chat stepping up, we're going to be able to keep getting those for everybody on the staff as they're on
And
here.
Brian,
So
just one more time for you, just looking at the brilliance that is Blaine Gabbert. I want to come up there.
There you go. Just look upon it. Look upon it. All right, defensively, I got to get to my game ball here. Defensively, it has to be Jamel Dean, guys. It has to be Jamel Dean because this pass defense needed a savior, and Jamel Dean. Will probably be.
We're interrupting this Jamel Dean segment for one more look at Blaine Williams and Gabbert.
We heard it.
There we go.
Okay, thank you. All right. It was Jamel Dean. I think they just needed a stabilizing performance back there in the secondary. He deserves this. Obviously, the pick was kind of a lucky play, but he actually got screwed on one of the first plays of the game. Joe Tryon-Schwenka let a sack get away. Then Brissett threw the ball down the field. The receiver's foot was clearly out of bounds. They reviewed it. Somehow the officials, who are blind, still said he was not out of bounds, and so they still called it a catch. And Jamel Dean, I thought, made a great play to push the guy out of bounds to everyone else on the planet, but not to that official, apparently. And so he kind of got screwed on that one, and then came back later in the game, broke up a couple of passes, got the interception off the drop from Waddle. Thought he was really good all night, didn't give up anything big, was one of their stabilizing presences there. There is a chance that wheel route touchdown on Myles Gaskin was on Jamel Dean, as I have to go back and review that one. I'm not certain yet, so I reserve the right to.
It'd be really interesting to see what type of coverage they were in because there was nobody behind.
Clearly, Jason Pierre-Paul was not trying to turn and run. So
exactly, yeah.
I think it might have been Jamel Dean. But either way,
either that or JPP just looked and said, "Screw it,"
Yeah, without maybe he just said, "I'm not making this play anyway." So
let's
see if he can make the throw. But no, I think Dean did play pretty well. And so we'll give it to him, but not a great day for the defense. Maybe I'll look back and think Devin White deserved more credit, but I didn't think it was a great day for the defense despite the 17 points. They've got a lot to prove moving forward for sure. So fun stuff, guys. Lots of people in the chat and lots of people in the comments and everything. And we really, really appreciate everybody jumping in here with us.
Thank you so much for those internet tips. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. These days are long ones with us, and we're going to be going all week, to be honest. We got Monday night. We're going to be on the podcast tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Scott and I will be on. We'll be breaking down this one more in depth. We'll take a look at the tape. We'll look at some of the advanced statistics for the PFF grades. We'll have thoughts on kind of all of that stuff as we move into Monday night. And then Tuesday we'll be off as we normally are on the show. Wednesday, 4 p.m. we'll be back. By the way, tomorrow, 4:30, Bruce Arians speaks. That's why we're moving the podcast to the evening to 7:30 p.m. So those of you who usually watch in the evening and don't get to see us live, you will get to see us as we're live at 7:30 p.m. on Monday. Tuesday will be off. Wednesday will be 4 p.m. Eastern. We'll have the preview of the Thursday night game. Then Thursday, we won't have the podcast until the post game. So after the game ends on Thursday, we will have the post game podcast. But before the game, we'll have the pregame show. We'll let you know times for all that tomorrow. We'll have all that up. The pregame show, and then throughout the game, the live in-game stream will be Trevor Sikkema and I taking you through that Bucs-Eagles game on Thursday night. We'll be doing play-by-play and in-game analysis and probably plenty of humor too. Hopefully the game lends itself to that. We'll see with the Bucs. That never seems to be the case for about 3 quarters anyway, but We'll have all that going through the game, and the post-game podcast will start about 45 minutes after the game ends on Thursday. And then we're planning on a Friday podcast too, if you're all going to ride with us on a Friday for the pod. So we're planning on that as well. So
that Thursday podcast, or I should say that the game day, that sounds awesome. I mean,
oh yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I love having Trevor on. I mean, he's always a great sport, and I mean, he's really a hero to some, and
the hero we need,
a villain to others, depending whether you like or hate Trevor. But
this is going to be a real test for people because they believe Trevor kind of jinxed the Bucs out of a Super Bowl or into a Super Bowl this past year,
which makes him a hero, John. There you go. So
yeah, they can't make up their minds whether he's the hero for leaving or the villain for having been here all these years and keeping the Bucs from winning. I'm really not sure. Yeah, so that's
so true.
Those descriptions you put up there match pretty well. So we appreciate this final $5 super chat from Robert Farmer. He says, do you think we'll implement more no huddle for those tough defenses down the line? Saints, Bills, Colts, Panthers. Yeah, I mean, the Bucs have it in their repertoire. I hope that they go to it more often. I think teams have trouble matching when they do that. Brady's always been really, really good at that. So we'll see if that ends up happening. You guys are still giggling about stuff.
I'm just reading Brian's chat.
Oh, Brian, we appreciate your contributions. We appreciate your contributions to the show today, man. Great stuff. For sure. So, all right, for JC Allen, for Scott Reynolds, for Matt Matera, for Casey Hudson, I'm John Ledger. Thanks so much for listening to another edition of the Pewter Report Podcast. Out.